Well, so it's a start of a new week. Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We are also live on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. You can catch us on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. In this package of The Pulse, there's likely to be a shortage of petroleum products in the coming days as the impact of the Ukraine-Russian war continues to bite hard in the global markets. We'll hear from Ghana's Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, which allege Ghana's current fuel buffer can only last for 6 weeks.
That can take care of 6 weeks reserves. But now, because of the impacts of the what you call Ukraine and Russia, the prices is now at the higher side.
Details coming up for you shortly, and also as we assess the possible solutions here on The Pulse. Also, mobile money users complain of wrongful charges as the rollout of the controversial electronic transaction levy enters day 2 today. We'll gauge the mood and also speak to the Ghana Revenue Authority on this matter.
We ensure that once it's a legitimate claim, we make the refund, and refunds are done on a regular basis. So I can promise you that these are things we take very seriously.
Also, the European Union says it will not meddle into Ghana's political affairs. It comes as the opposition National Democratic Congress continues to call on the international community to resolve its tussle with the Electoral Commission and the government of Ghana.
That in 2022, in the very country of Nkrumah, you are asking for external actors to have an influence on Ghana. Is it what you are saying?
We have all of that coming up for you here on The Pulse. Meanwhile, President John Mahama is set to address the nation. We'll bring you an exclusive interview with the EU ambassador, plus gauge an assessment of what it is that the opposition party claims is the fact that Ghana is at a crossroads. We'll explore all of that here on The Pulse. My name is Blessed Sogah. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. This afternoon as well, we are streaming live on YouTube and all of our social media handles. Feel free to be a part of the show. Tweet and ask with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at Blessed Sogah. Thanks for choosing us. Oh, so this afternoon, there's likely to be a shortage of petroleum products in the coming days following escalating global challenges in the energy sector. It is revealed that the current fuel buffer in the country can only last for 6 weeks. Hence, the need and some hitches in the international market will have a full-blown effect on consumers here in Ghana. With National Chairperson of the General Transport, Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, Bernard Owusu, tells JoyNews that the government needs more money to address this challenge. He spoke to my colleague, Samuel Mbura.
As we speak now, if we don't take time, we might be experiencing petroleum shortage in the country because of this war that is coming from Ukraine and what you call Russia. Because most of our products are from this, countries. So it's a very difficult situation for the country and at the same time for Ghanaians as well.
What are you doing locally to mitigate the situation?
The government, as we speak now, is currently, we have a buffer that can take care of 6 weeks reserves. But now, because of the impacts of the, Ukraine and Russia, the prices is now at the higher side, and the products now buying 1 liter at 10 cedis and some pesos, even bringing 1 full tanker of petroleum product is not a joke. So the government need more money to ensure that they can support the BDCs and the fuel those who trade in fuel, to ensure that we get. There was this discussion that government will like to bring in product through the international traders, and which, if that comes through, then it's going to help us.
What is the current state of the fuel buffer?
Currently we have 6 weeks.
So after 6 weeks, if we are not able to restock, we may run out of fuel.
Definitely. And we have to even thank our stars that we are able to do that as a country, because other countries from the sub-regions are not able to do it, like Senegal, Kenya, and whatever have you. Because as we speak, now petroleum product is now a high what you call demand commodity in the world. Everybody is looking for it. So if your price is not up to, then they will channel it to other countries. And Ghana, we are not in a what do you call, we are all in the global village whereby these commodities are things that we share.
So because of the challenge at hand, your buffer can last for only 6 weeks. That means that we should not expect any reduction in fuel prices anytime soon. Is that so?
It's not like the current situation that we find ourselves, but as a nation, that is what we have been able to do. And it's not easy to keep strategic reserves. It's not an easy thing. Buying such products and putting the product down and waiting for maybe an emergency before maybe you can push it into the system is not a joke.
So we are currently relying on the reserves. That's the situation now.
Not that we are relying on the reserves. We have the reserves. At the same time, we have products in from the BDCs and oil marketing companies coming through.
Well, so that's the latest update on our reserve. Joining us to help understand the global market and how it actually affects Ghana is research analyst at the Institute for Energy Security, Fritz Moses. Thank you so much for your time here on the Pulse. So, it's such a gloomy picture for our industry really, in terms of petroleum and other energy-related matters. But how do we avert this imminent crisis?
Right. Thank you for having me. I think essentially what we need to understand is that certainly as an oil producing, a nation that uses oil products, petrol and diesel and all, we would be affected by whatever happens on the international market. And so, and of course, we are not a major player on the international level. So that's the reason why we will be affected. So we have this strategic reserve that we expect that our boss, which is the state, the bulk oil storage Constitution company of the state, would be ensuring that we have. You look at the law and what is expected that you have about 6 months of reserve for us to fall back on in terms of when we face two critical challenges. One is price shocks, and then two is the supply shocks. And so in the event where prices are rising on international markets exponentially, we would expect that the local reserve that boss would have had would be released on the market to cushion a bit the prices that we would expect to rather reflect here. And also when we have some supply, like we are currently experiencing with the Russia 7 million barrels per day cut from the international market, then we can also fall on our local reserves. Of course, also, look at Ghana too, and it's only Tema port that we, products on the international market working through. And so whenever there's a situation like that affects the ability of Tema port to take in the products from the international market, we can still fall on the reserve. But the current revelation that we have just about 6 weeks, it's mind-boggling. We understand that we still don't have enough to maybe meet about 2 weeks consumption. Of course, this has been reported by the Energy Commission in some of their reports that they've released.
And I guess the resultant effect is that consumers would have to brace up for more.
Certainly, what happens is that if we are unable to improve our local capacity to fall back on local reserves, then certainly whatever is happening on the international market will have a trickling down effect, and we cannot actually control it. And like we've seen, prices are rising, it's also rising locally, and government seems not to have any tangible effort, not to do any tangible effort to stabilize, and that's the situation we find ourselves in.
Well, Fritz Moses, but what can government do to avert the situation?
Well, as years, we've been calling over the past years that we need to have some national conversation on the financing and funding for petroleum reserves. Because if we had that reserve existing in both tanks and all that, we wouldn't find ourselves in the current situation that we find. You look at countries like the USA, we all heard the news that they were releasing their strategic reserve.
Fritz, we're losing you intermittently.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, that's better.
Great. So I was making an example that you look at countries like the US, they have millions of barrels of petroleum products that they can fall on when prices are skyrocketing on the international market. And that's what that was the intention behind our establishment, of course. But due to financing issues majorly,
all right then.
Right. So we believe that it was important that national competition will be had on how to improve the financing business. And then from there, we would see how we can improve our results.
Right, we have to leave it here, but thank you so much, Fritz Moses. He is a research analyst working with the Institute of Energy Securities. Well, we're just 2 days after the full rollout of the controversial electronic transactions levy, some persons who have made transactions are complaining about varied deductions and unauthorized charges. Some of them who took to social media to vent their frustration say they were charged for transfers less than the 100 cedis threshold. We'll obviously be reading some of the comments that are, of course, flooding social media. But first, let's hear from Kofi Ajay, who's with our research desk, joining us, and he's been testing the system and breaking it all down for us to understand what the dynamics is with regard to the E-levy. We'll also be hearing from the Ghana Revenue Authority on this. But Kofi, first of all, what did you find out when you put the system to a test?
So yesterday, around 6 o'clock a.m., I decided to send an amount of 450 cedis to a friend to test the system, actually. And so before the inception of the electronic transaction levy, you should know that if you send somewhere around 450 cedis, you'll be charged a service charge of 4 cedis, 50 pesos. And this time around, I realized that the charge was more than the 4 cedis, 50 pesos. And then looking at my receipt, I saw that there was an additional charge of 3 cedis, 38 pesos, which was termed as tax. And that was the E-levy, you know. And so I also realized that the system did not charge the volume of transaction that I said, that's the 450 cedis. It only charged the value added, meaning that it took into consideration the 100 cedis as the threshold. And so I was only the E-levy was only applicable to the 350 cedis addition. And then somewhere in the evening, I went to see my mom, and then she asked me to send an amount of 51 cedis to a colleague. And I also wanted to still check to know if she'll be charged the levy. So upon sending the 51 cedis, I realized that this time around, the fee was 0, that's 0. And then the tax amount was also 0. It means she wasn't charged either the service charge or the E-levy. And that was her first transaction in the day, actually. And somewhere also, that's around yesterday, I wanted to still check the system. So I visited one popular, shopping mall on the Spintex Road. And then I shopped for items worth 313 cedis. And then I went to the counter and I told them I wanted to pay via Momo because I wanted to really test how the system was working in the shopping mall as well. And this time around, I realized, the service charge was, usually was 1%. But this time around, I was charged the 2 cedis 35 pesos, meaning that the service charge had been reduced from 1% to 0.75. And then boom, I saw what I didn't want to see, the tax component, which is the E-levy. I was charged 4 cedis 70 pesos. So in total, I was charged more than 7 cedis for transferring an amount of 313 cedis to the shopping mall's account. And then this morning, Blessed, I was still curious. I wanted to know if maybe because yesterday that wasn't my first transaction. So this morning I decided not to do any transaction. And my first transaction is going to be in another supermarket. So I went to a nearby supermarket and shopped for items worth 154 cedis, 97 pesos. And I told them I wanted to pay via Momo as well. And to my surprise, this time around, I wasn't charged there was no fee charge, and then there was no tax component. So I was still curious. I checked my balance, And I realized I did the additions, and I realized that I wasn't charged the E-levy. And then
is that to suggest that the charge is just applicable to what happens beyond the 100 cedis threshold for the very first time? Is that the explanation to that?
All right, so I was expecting that for the very first, and that was my first transaction of the day. It was above 100 cedis, and I was expecting the E-levy to be applied on the 54 cedis, 97 pesos. But I walked away without being charged. I don't know if that because that was my first transaction in the day. But yesterday it was different. When I sent the 400 cedis, 455 cedis, I was duly charged the additional value that I added to the 100 cedis threshold.
Well, Kofi, we'll still be monitoring the platform, but I'm grateful for the update you've given us and how you've put the system to a test. In fact, some Ghanaians have also been reacting to this on social media, where, of course, many of you there have been raising your concerns since the E-levy took effect, but we'll be reading the comments to you very shortly. Let's also hear from the Ghana Revenue Authority, find out what they're doing to address this. We'll get that for you shortly, but first let's head to social media, get some of the comments that many of you are sharing there, and then we'll try as much as possible to break the issues down and try and get some responses from the Ghana Revenue Authority. So this one is from Yaira Koku. Yaira Koku says, please give me one reason why I should contribute to someone's useless childhood ambition of living like an Arabian king using the taxpayers' money to rent a private jet. So obviously that's a concern about how a government would put this tax to a good use or otherwise. Then there is Samuel Asante Nru. He says that stop the propaganda and pay your E-levy. You want good roads, hospitals, free SHS, nursing training allowances. You also want interchanges and more, but you don't want to pay taxes. Ghana is not the private company. It's not actually a private company. It belongs to all of us. And there are more of you sharing your comments with us. This one says that I was sending Momo from my own MTN SIM to another MTN SIM, which is used by my wife, all registered in my name. I was charged the E-levy as well. So that's one of the experience that someone is also sharing on social media. Then we also have this coming through from a number of you who are posting below the comments that we put up on Facebook. This one says that I was charged 2.5 cedis for sending 100 cedis from an MTN number to a Vodafone number, clueless government. And then PHK also comes through. We have Thomas T. He says that it's a pickpocketing tax, which is being used as a collateral for loans for family and friends consumption, and then luxury. I've emptied and closed down my Momo account. So these are some of the reactions that we're getting on social media. We'll be getting back to all of the comments that most of you are sharing with us on the subject matter, but let's hear from the Ghana Revenue Authority as well and understand what it is they're doing to deal with all of these concerns. So joining us now, let's hear from Patrick Frimpong, Patrick Frimpong Danso is with the Ghana Revenue Authority. He's a member of the technical team for the E-levy. He is joining us via Zoom to have a conversation on this. Thank you, sir, for your time. So here are some of the concerns that we're receiving. Some persons are transferring using their same or the same SIM cards, but yet they are being charged the E-levy. I'm sure that you received so many complaints today. How are you resolving all of these issues?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I want to take that question first. And yesterday, when we started this implementation, the first complaint was the example you just gave me, where somebody's transferring money from, let's say, one EMI to another, saying MTN to Vodafone, they are being charged. Now, the challenge is coming from the EMI. So what we have discussed this issue with them, but fortunately for us, when you do the transaction on the same network, it doesn't charge you when it's less than 100 Ghana cedis. So this problem is coming when you are doing off net. So as I speak to you right now, we are in a meeting. We started the meeting 3 o'clock. We are discussing how they're going to solve this problem. So that one being addressed. And it's happening to those who are doing the off net. And it's only one of the EMI. All the others are working perfectly. We don't have any problem. I must also say that if you have been charged wrongfully for any tax, once we get back and resolve the issue, that tax will be refunded back into your wallet or your account.
I
So
guess that was provided for in the guideline that you issued earlier, but there's no clarity on whether or not there are clear procedures for the refund and how soon anyone who's been wrongfully deducted will be rebated.
Yeah, first, we need to solve the problem first. What is creating the unlawful charges? So we need to solve that one first. So once that one is solved, then it's data. The data is residing with the charging entity. We can pick the data. All transactions that were below 100 Ghana cedis and you charge, we have the data. We know the wallet, and then we can do a reversal. So that one can be done. And that will be done automatic. It's not going to be done as if maybe you have to write to GRA before we know that it's a wrongful charge. And therefore, the same system that charges you, we are going to use the same system to reverse all those wrongful charges.
Are you opening up any lines for consumers generally to phone in and raise their concerns so you can address them?
Yes. We have our lines, the free toll number that you can call at any time, 24/7. If I may put it out there, can I put it out there if you are ready?
Yeah, yes, please go ahead with the numbers.
Okay, so we have toll-free number that is 0800 900 110. 0800 900 110. Then we have WhatsApp line 055 290 000. That is 000 050 290 0000. So this is also a WhatsApp line that you can complain to us if you have any challenge. Now, what we are going to do is that after we have solved the problem of this wrongful charges that is coming from only one charging entity, we will pick the data and then we'll reverse all those wrongful charges back into their wallet or the account.
And we're also learning that some transfers with the same ownership, we're having deductions on that. Have you received complaints such as those?
Yes, it's true. Because if you look at the approach that we are looking at per wallet. Now with the per wallet, we are not able to identify the same person using the Ghana card. So for example, I have, let's say, Tigo and then Vodafone Cash. They belong to me. I have not done the SIM card registration, or I've done with the Vodafone. I've not done with the Ghana card. I've not done with the Tigo. Now, GRA is building. We have a common platform which is the ultimate. As we are starting that one in 1st July. That one, anytime I make a transfer, the system will come to that common platform to find my identity. If I'm the same person, it will now inform the charging entity that this transaction, the chargeable income is 0. And therefore, if you take 0 and you multiply it by 1.5%, the answer will be 0. But because we don't have that one right now in place, they are charging per wallet. Now, if you are able to prove to your charging entity, say, for example, if I do the initiation of the transaction from, let's say, Vodafone Cash, and then I'm sending it to my Tigo wallet, and they charge me, I can go to Vodafone and say that Vodafone, myself, I'm the same person having the Tigo. If I'm able to prove it, there's going to be a refund for you once you prove that you are the same person. The same applies to those who are also transferring money from their bank account onto their wallet. If they're able to prove to the bank that they are the same person for the wallet and the same account belongs to them, we are able to do that reversal of the taxes.
So until that interface is ready, are you suggesting that there's no remedial measures, nothing to do about it for now?
To identify same person, we don't have the common platform in place now. As I said, we did it, it's there, it's working. But the challenge we had was that most of the charging entities were not ready to call that API. So if you are not able to call, then we can't say that everybody should be on that board, on that common platform. So that's why we are going phase approach. So what we are doing right now is that because about only 5% were able to call the API because they were able to configure their system to call the API, which is going to be the common platform. If the rest, let's say the 95% cannot do it, we cannot say that some should do it and others should not do it. So that's why we are all saying that we should charge per wallet. But we are putting in place a mechanism where if you're able to prove that you are the same person, then we allow that reversal of the taxes to your wallet.
You're also indicating in your guidelines that you'd be auditing the electronic money issuers at the end of every day. It's day 2 already. Is it too early to ask for how much we've raked for the first day of transaction?
Okay, I thought in our guidelines, what we are asking for is the transfer of the fund into the consolidated, and because
precisely,
we are going
you clearly indicated that there was going to be an audit as well.
Yes, for audits, because this is our electronic transaction, and electronic transaction, we know that we might have a huge data over millions of transactions, and then there's going to be a way to do it. What we are doing right now is that we are monitoring the ecosystem and seeing the complaints. Not now that you have to start and going to do audit. We have to wait and look at it for some time before when things stabilize, then we can go and then start our auditing. It's data. Once we get the data, we can do the audit, and we have the systems in place to be doing that audit. And as you are aware, a lot of transactions have gone on that are not supposed to be charged. And we need to make sure that we do all these things before we can start a serious audit. So for now, we want to make sure that things stabilize before we can start our audits.
Is that to suggest that we don't know how much we've collected at the end of day 1 ever since we started rolling out the E-levy?
For that one, we are working on it. We are still in touch with our charging entities, and that one will be announced by the Commissioner General himself. He will tell us maybe the day 1, how much we got, day 2, how much we got. So that one they are still working on. And because we have these hitches, we can't take the figures right now and say we will report on that because there are a lot of wrongful charges. We might put a figure there, and then later when we reverse it, it becomes like you told us this X amount, now you're coming to tell a different amount. So we need to be very careful before we come out with the figures. Unless after when we solve the problem of these wrongful charges, then we do the reversal, then we can come and tell the general public that, oh, day 1 we got X amount. But for now, there are a lot of wrongful charges as part of the collection, which we cannot say is the right thing we have to do.
It's interesting that you're saying that there are some anomalies with the charges. You're indicating that some of the EMIs are to blame for this. Are you suggesting that some of the telcos as well are not cooperating with the Ghana Revenue Authority in that manner?
No, I don't think that is the issue. The issue is more of their system. And as I said, it's only one of the EMI, that is one of the telcos that are having the challenge. The challenge is only off-net, but the on-net is working perfectly. So it's something to do with how they configure their system. So they are working on that one. So it's not that they are not doing it, they are working on that one. And they promise us that, as I said, we are having a meeting as I speak to you right now with them. They are working around the clock to make sure that latest by tomorrow, that thing should be solved. When that thing is solved, then we need to now look at the data. Those that were charged wrongfully, we have to reverse them. Then we are all will be on one page.
I'm asking because earlier there were reports that the telcos were not willing to give out their systems. In other words, for the pooling, for the pooling to happen, the fact that you need a consolidated platform where you could track same ownership transfers. The concern is because of the lack of cooperation from all of these telcos. That's why we're experiencing some of these challenges.
I will not say that because for the past 6 weeks, almost every week we have a meeting with all the charging entities. Almost every, and even some of them, they even call the meeting that they want to understand certain things or else to explain to them. As I said, I will speak to you that we even have one this morning. So I'm not sure they are not cooperating. They are all for the E-levy. They have brought about a lot of suggestions that have helped up to do this implementation. They have come out with some of expertise in their area to also support us the way we are thinking through the guidelines. So I would say that they've been helpful. Other than that, we will not reach where we are now.
Interesting. And how about the banks as well? Bank to mobile money transfers. Are there charges on that as well? Because just as we pointed out to you, it appears that that platform also is experiencing some challenges.
Yes, if you're transferring money, assuming I'm transferring money from my bank account to your wallet, the E-levy applies. It's only when you are doing that transaction to your own wallet, then the E-levy doesn't apply. as I said, because the EMI and then the banks, they don't have a common platform that they can identify that is the same person, they might charge. But as I said, once they charge you and you're able to prove to the charging entity that I'm the same person for this wallet and the same bank account belongs to me, then they will reverse it. They will reverse the taxes. So it's something to do with identity. And as I said, because the common platform, we are not connected to the common platform for the first phase. That is why we are having that difficulty. And I can tell you that if we are connected to the common platform in July, when we start in July, we will not have these issues coming up again.
All right then, we'll have to leave it here. I'm grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us. Patrick Frimpong Danso, a technical member of those in charge of the E-levy. But it's time now to talk politics. Adwoa Safo has turned her back on us in spite of our support for her during the parliamentary primaries. That's according to the chairperson of the NPP's Dome-Kwabenya constituency, Robert Sosei Bonsu, who says electorates are disappointed in their MP over her continuous absence. Chairperson observed that the MP failed to notify the constituency executives and has since not officially informed them. Speaking to JoyNews' Kwesi Parker-Wilson, after securing his re-election bid, Mr. Bonsu asked the national leadership of the party to expedite the determination on the fate of the MP.
I've served this constituency dedicatedly and commit with all the commitments that I could come out with. And so they decided to reward me with another term, another 4 years. And I think they also know that with me, we can break the 8. Yes.
How do you intend to break the 8? Because I have received report within this constituency of sharp division, of course, especially where your member of parliament hasn't been around. For you as a chairman, are you worried about the situation? Did you know about her absence within the constituency?
Well, not from her outfit. I haven't had any communique from the office of the member of parliament. But I know he's not around because we haven't seen her in the constituency. And on the news, we know she's not in parliament. She's also not in her ministry. It's a bother. It's a worry for the constituents. Looking at the fact that we fully endorse her to represent us in parliament, and that aspect of it is not being served. And so, obviously, we are not happy.
You're not happy?
We are not happy that our member of parliament is not representing us in parliament.
And since she left, has she officially called you? You are the chairman. You've been working with her closely.
What I'm saying, that there's never been an official communique from the office of the...
Not even a phone call from her?
Not a phone call from her, not a text message, nothing.
Are you disappointed?
I am, very much so. Especially with all the help that I gave her during the primaries. She decided not to, just to turn her back. And well, not necessarily me alone, but the constituents.
Do you feel disrespected?
So much so. So much so. So much so, yes. So much so.
Now you are talking about breaking the 8. How do you intend to break the 8 with such a member of parliament within this constituency?
Well, I want these elections, and from tomorrow, I'm bringing all the constituents together. All the contestants, those who lost, and those who didn't even vote for me. They are still my constituents. And we are serving the elephant. So we all have to come together and break the 8. If you really want to do something extraordinary, sometimes you have to go out of a way to, in order for you to achieve your goal. And so whoever voted for me or did not, I'm bringing everybody on board.
I understand there's a big push to get her out of office. I don't know whether this has come to your attention.
We are looking to NEC and the national leadership to take a decision on that. I wouldn't want to comment on it to say whether she should be maintained or not. But
What do you expect to be done? Because it appears Dominic Obiang has a bad name now.
Yes, we don't have. It looks like we don't have an MP. But with the current crop of executives, we'll be able to hold the fort together. And like she doesn't seem to be missed as such, because we are doing the best that we can for the constituency to move on.
You talked about looking up to the NEC, and this is my final question. How soon do you expect the NEC to take a decision on the conduct of the NP?
It will depend on leadership. I cannot put any time on it. Yeah, but the sooner they do it, the better it is.
Well, so thanks for staying with us here on the polls. Now, the Northeast regional constituency elections have also been taking place. They've come to an end. In all, some 196 aspirants and 3,515 delegates, including the party's patron and Council of Elders, took part in the elections held in the 6th constituency in that part of the country. The elections, which started on Thursday and ended on Saturday, were largely peaceful and incident-free, except for a few disappointments in the Nalerigo-Gambaga constituency following accusations of manipulation against some of the regional executives. Ilyasu Tanko monitored the elections and comes through with this report.
The petitioners include Dalade Abdul Rashid, Idrisu Hamza, Imuru Majid, Musa Jalil, Idrisu Ibrahim, and Ibrahim Fatima. The others are Haruna Yusuf, Salifu Saibu, Bugri David, Alasan Zakaria, Brahima Mohammed, and Mohammed Yamusa Wangara. Speaking to Joy News, the petitioners claimed the decision to relocate the venue for the exercise from the regional capital was a unilateral decision taken with an ulterior motive by certain members of the election committee. Musa Jalil, an assistant secretary aspirant, is one of the petitioners.
We raised eyebrows even before they communicated to us about LNBC because there was a grapevine information that they were planning to send it to LNBC. And then it seems there is an ulterior motive about sending it to LNBC, because we believe that it's rather better and best to have held it in Nalerigo, because one, Nalerigo is found in the middle of the constituency, where the people of Bintri, the people of Kulgona, the people of LNBC, Wundu and Sakogu could come to meet. Again, it is the constituency headquarters, because we have constituency and regional party offices in Nalerigo. So for security reasons, we are thinking that going to LNBC, our safety and security will not be guaranteed.
The petition has become a subject of disagreement between the party regional executives who approved the election in Langbinsi and the Municipal Security Council, the Nayiri, on one hand, who want to side with the petitioner for security reasons. According to the disgruntled aspirant, despite the intervention of both the regional police and the Nayiri, the Constituency Election Committee has refused to rescind the decision. They also want to resist any attempt to use vigilantes to intimidate them and their supporters on election day.
We wrote the petition, myself and together with other aspirants who are disgruntled about this whole impunity, wrote the petition. We served the regional police command, we served the municipal police command, we served the Nayiri, and we served the chancellor of MISEC, that's Municipal Security Council, because the Nayiri doesn't want any chaos in his kingdom. So because of that, we were all summoned there. When we went there, they asked the committee of elections to also come. They sent their representative. Then the Nayiri said, because of peace, I would have liked this thing to happen in Nalerigo, because there is a big dining hall in Nalerigo Senior High School which can contain everybody, both the delegates and the aspirants and the election officials and the election committee. So we thought they had heeded to the advice and then the orders of the Nayiri. Only for us to see this evening that they are saying that we must go to Langbisi. So what we are trying to let them understand is that, yes, we know what they are up to. And we are not also going to fold our arms and look at them and watch them, cheat us. That one we cannot take it.
The dissatisfied aspirants have, however, served a notice to use other means to challenge the decision and ensure the venue for the exercise is not relocated.
Because when we go there and they try to machinate things, to scheme things, we may not want to understand. And the measurement and the security, the so-called national security they will bring there will not also want to do things in a neutral way, objectively. They will want to do things to favor some particular people, which we think we are not going to countenance. We won't condone that. Even if it means, stopping EC from going to Langbisi on that day. But I'm not saying what I'm saying is sacrosanct, but it will be part of the decision. Because if we allow certain things to happen, now if we decide to say the people of Nalergu, Sakogu, maybe Gambaga, and other zones that are not in Langbisi Shirungo, they'll go there and hold the elections and come out with names and say they are those that have won. That was just exactly what they did the last time.
From Nalergu, Ilyas Sutanko, JoyNews.
And still to come here on the polls, the European Union says it will not meddle in Ghana's political affairs. It comes as the opposition National Democratic Congress continues to call on the international community to resolve its tussle with the Electoral Commission.
I'm very surprised that in 2022, in the very country of Nkrumah, you are asking for external actors to have an influence on Ghana. Is it what you are saying?
Well, we'll bring you the full version of that exclusive interview. Meanwhile, former President John Mahama is set to address the nation as the opposition party argues that Ghana is at the crossroads. We'll explore all of that here on The Pulse. Please stay. Welcome back to the program. Now, the European Union says it will not honor the invitation to meddle in the recent developments in Ghana's political landscape. The opposition National Democratic Congress, after the 2020 presidential elections, has been mounting pressure on the international community to address the concerns over the posture of the Electoral Commission. An additional petition was also sent to the Commonwealth with claims that NDC members are being witch-hunted by government. However, the head of the EU mission, Ishad Razali, told me it will be surprising to ask external actors to meddle into the political deadlock here in Nkrumah's Ghana. Well, it's been less than a year since he began his tour of duty. I first of all caught up with him and asked him how he's been treated so far here in Ghana.
The welcoming has been really great. People are warm, friendly, open. The country itself, you know it better than me, is a beautiful country, has a lot to offer, so I have absolutely no complaints so far. On the contrary, I was happy to crisscross the country from central region to Kumasi to western region. Have to confess I've made a short incursion in the Volta region last week, and I would like to discover more. I've been as well in some of the northern provinces. So.
Right. So it's a good time for you.
Very good.
Did we meet your expectation, or are you expecting much more?
No, you should not have any expectations in order not to be surprised or not to be disappointed. But the time is really, really good. Once again, great people, great country, great assignment. And I'm particularly happy and honored to serve in this country, which is a key partner. Stable, democratic, trustworthy partner to the EU, especially in West Africa, and this makes a lot of the, I would say, the excitement.
Right, interesting. And many would say that if you talk about the European Union and its partners across the world, Africa remains a key partner, and that obviously includes nations like Ghana. We know that the relations has dated over 4 decades, I should say. The dynamics at the time it was starting are not necessarily the same as we have it now. But what's your assessment of the status of the EU EU-Ghana relations?
The relation between the European Union and Ghana have been improving over the years, and just as key indicators, in the last year or in the last 18 months, the President Akufo-Addo visited Europe, the European Union as such, not only European member states, 4 times. We had lately a high-level visit from the Commissioner in charge of international partnership. It was just a few weeks ago, and these are key indicators of I would say, the solidity of the link. The other indication is the very good match between the priorities we are supporting together, Ghana and the European Union, in terms of upcoming programs. These are key engagement in terms of job and growth support, stimulation, support what we call smart cities, and when it comes as well to governance and security. And these are joint, I would say, priorities, jointly identified by Ghana and European together for the years to come.
And for some experts, if there's anything reinforcing the need for partnership between the EU and Ghana, obviously we cannot shy away from the subject matter of COVID-19. The pandemic has actually ravaged not just European economies, but also here in Ghana as well. We are feeling the effect of the virus. In what ways has the European Union helped nations across Africa, and including Ghana, to battle this pandemic?
The European Union has been the worldwide first partner to support access to vaccines, actually. And Ghana was the first country worldwide benefiting from vaccine shipped by the so-called COVID initiative funded by the European Union. And beyond the vaccines, the European Union is currently supporting the Ghanaian administration, the Food and Drug Administration, to build a facility to produce vaccines on the very soil of Ghana, which is very important, which makes a key, I would say, contribution for this partnership, because this will be only a handful of countries like Senegal, Rwanda, and now Ghana who will be part of this program. But to come back to the other intervention of the European Union to weather the consequences of COVID, last year only we have disbursed 87 million euro to the Ghanaian government in order to address the socio-economic consequences of the COVID. And lately this year we have mobilized 82 million euros on top of that to reinforce the health sector. And now, as I said, we are supporting the country to host and to develop vaccine facility. Not only for COVID as well, but for other diseases.
But you agree that it's not been a smooth journey getting to the point of vaccine equality. Sadly, experts say that in spite of these interventions that we're seeing, there's that great divide where the global north, the more industrialized nations across the world have access to more vaccines than developing countries such as Ghana. For instance, Oxfam is reporting that Europe, for instance, has had to bin some 50 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines, which is far more in excess than what you've given to countries such as Ghana. Why is the EU not willing to save the world when it has a beautiful opportunity to do so?
I'm a bit surprised by what you have been saying, because this is exactly the opposite. Ghana was the first country worldwide to benefit from vaccines funded by the European Union, first. And secondly, Ghana is one of the very few African countries which will be producing its own vaccines. So when you are raising this issue of lack of access to vaccines, this is absolutely irrelevant.
It's an issue of equality, I guess. The question has always been about equality. There are even challenges of waiving, for instance, the issues of intellectual property rights over the production of the vaccine itself. These are issues that confront the EU today. How are you addressing it? I guess it feeds into the conversation of equality across the world in terms of access to vaccines.
Yes, equality across the world, there are challenges on all fronts, not only on vaccines. So on vaccines, as it was an acute crisis, we have done the utmost to narrow the gap. And as I say, you can check how many countries will be able to produce vaccines worldwide. And Ghana will be at the forefront because of the EU commitment to support the Ghanaian request.
But will that be enough for Africa, I guess?
That's the idea.
Right.
That's the idea. And not only for Africa.
Right. But the question about waiving the intellectual property of other vaccines, you have not dealt with that as the EU, have you?
No, we have dealt with that. This is an issue for the WTO, the World Trade Organization, because this is linked to international intellectual property. But this is another conversation. You cannot just force businesses to waiver the rights on vaccines or any other, I would say, product. But this conversation is in one track. The other conversation that we have is how to ship vaccines and how to produce vaccines.
And the whole issue of the pandemic is also having effects on our economy, for instance. Here we are, Ghana is grappling to meet its revenue targets, and there's the call by some experts that we need to look elsewhere, look up to the West for support. Is the EU willing to extend that help to Ghana in these very trying times?
This is what I've said in introduction. We have disbursed 87 million euro grant last year, precisely for that. And we have disbursed 82 million euro, this is loan to support the health sector. But beyond that, what we are doing is to support the government on its all priority areas when it comes to one district, one factory, planting for food and job, one dam, one district, and we are supporting all these key areas because these are areas that will make a difference for the very life of every people beyond macroeconomics. So this is where we are focusing our efforts, and we hope to gain traction and get impact on the ground because these, once again, are joint undertaking between the European Union and Ghana.
And since you're making some strides in that, some say what may revert or I mean thwart your efforts would be what's happening on the global front, the Russian-Ukraine war. It's beginning to have impact on not just European economies but also countries here in Africa. We've had our Vice President, for instance, talk about the fact that what's happening between Ukraine and Russia is beginning to have a toll on African countries. Given the fact that it's affecting economies such as Ghana, what is the EU willing to do to mediate, if possible, if that's possible, the conflict, and also extending some form of assistance to African nations such as Ghana?
Firstly, the situation, it's not a situation, it's an aggression and invasion conducted by Russia against a sovereign country, Ukraine, and we are in it all together. There are economic consequences in Europe, there are economic consequences in the American continent, in the African continent as well, in the Asian continent. So we have to face it all together. Firstly, on the diplomatic and political side, we have been together with the Ghanaian authorities and the majority of African countries to condemn the invasion and the aggression from Russia on Ukraine, the very day of the aggression. This is point number one. Point number two, as you mentioned, the magnitude of the economic crisis, which affects, I would say, all the world, is now currently discussed in order to address and to make, I would say, extra effort. So there are discussions conducted with the IMF, with the World Bank, with the G20, the G7, in order to, once again, maybe expand the extraordinary effort which has already been made for COVID times. Okay, COVID times called for already extraordinary effort when it comes to debt issues, when it comes to economic stimulation. So these schemes are now, I would say, assessed in order to see to what extent they can be expanded, prolonged, in order to address the current situation.
The fear is it may change the priority of Europe towards Africa.
Absolutely not. this is far-fetched. Absolutely not. This is the reason why the commissioner in charge of international partnership came to Ghana and other African countries, even though the priority of the day was and is very much Ukraine for obvious geopolitical reasons. But even that, you know, the financial envelope for Ghana and the African countries has not decreased. The political attention has not decreased, on the contrary, and so you have absolutely no indication that there is, I would say, a shift of attention, investment, and I would say a priority when it comes to Africa. Geography and history is stubborn, so there are only 14 kilometers between Europe and Africa, so this was there thousands of years ago, this will be there tomorrow, this is the case today. So.
And some say that what we're seeing in the world now is a case or a test case for democracy. That's what the European Union has always stood for, the fact that there's a need for a free world, a free society, and the respect for human rights and all of that across the world. But if you even move away from the Russian-Ukrainian war, here in our part of the world as well, democracy appears to be taking a backseat, which is also going contrary to the ideals that the EU has on democracy. You look at West Africa, for instance, there's a growing trend of military takeovers and instability across the region. The fear is some burgeoning democracies such as Ghana may be affected as a result of the wave we're experiencing in West Africa. Is the EU concerned about what's happening in the sub-region?
We are concerned in what's happening in the sub-region in West Africa, which I want to remind you was for long the most advanced region when it comes to democracy in Africa. Between the years 2000 to 2020, it was the most advanced. This is the only region which has a protocol on democracy and on governance. So this is important to remind, and as you've mentioned, there are currently some situations and setbacks that are dealt with primarily by ECOWAS with Ghana at its helm. And there, I have to say that we are supporting Ghanaian efforts 100% because, as you've said, Ghana is a truly democratic, stable country which shares our concern when it comes to the global order. What are we standing for? We are standing for democratic values. We are standing for cooperation. This is the very idea of the European Union. And we stand for rule-based international order at multilateral level, like Ghana. As you know, Ghana is sitting currently in the UN Security Council, and these are very values that we are sharing between Ghana and European Union. Of course, we have concerns when it comes to some situation in the region, but we are, I would say, working side by side to.
But what's your diagnosis of the problem, really, of why democracy appears to be taking a back seat? Not just even in West Africa, here in Ghana as well, some professors, very learned people, have expressed the fear that there may be a military takeover. What do you see as that basic problem affecting all of these African countries, including Ghana?
I'm not really sure about what you are referring to when it comes to Ghana, really. The elections in 2020 were taken their course, were recognized internationally, open, fair and democratic. The life in the parliament keeps us, I would say, entertained to some extent, because this is a vivid expression of democracy. There is real debate, people agree, people disagree. This is the indication of vivid democracy.
But the spectacle hasn't been amazing, you agree?
In there
was a brawl, for instance, in Ghana's parliament.
In an authoritarian state, there will not be any debate, no disagreement. And this is not what I'm seeing in Ghana, for example. So I don't share your statement or your assessment that there are, I would say, a setback when it comes to Ghana. When it comes to the other countries, you know, there are military people who believe they can do better than the elected people. This is unfortunate, this is what they feel, and this is the reason why we, the European Union, together with ECOWAS, chaired by Ghana, are trying to find solutions. Okay,
but I was just talking about, for instance, our Ghanaian Parliament. You've witnessed a rather unfortunate spectacle. The EU MPs don't fight, for instance, in the chambers, but we're having such incidents happen here in Ghana. For instance, Professor Atugua, one of the renowned lawyers here in the country, is also warning that if our political leaders do not change the trajectory, then we are in for
this is his statement, and this is
very worst times in terms of
this is his statement, and this is
right.
his assessment. It's not mine,
right.
and it's not the European Union's statement as assessment. I can tell you that discussion in parliaments in European countries can be really heated and vivid.
Yeah.
I can tell you that when minority or majority parties are tabling bills which most of the time could be contentious, because this is as well the life of parliament. This is debated, this is heated, and then this landing. Okay, so I think this is all part of a democratic life.
So you don't feel our democracy is at the verge or the brink of collapse?
Absolutely not.
Right. Let's talk about the 2020 elections, for instance. Your election observer mission was here in the country. You pointed out that there was abuse of state resources in the lead up to the elections, for instance. Many say some of these activities is making the youth despondent. The fact that they don't have any hope in their government, the fact that they don't believe that their governments will be able to change the course of the country. Is that the same feeling that you have sitting and looking through all these reports that have come to your table?
We have sent in 2020 an independent observation mission led by members of parliament, because some of them are engaging into that area of external action. And the main finding is that the elections were open, transparent and democratic. And of course, here and there are rooms for improvement. We have made recommendations. Main recommendations are linked to the funding of the political campaign, for example, but this is an area where we can make improvement in many places in the world, including in Europe, in Northern America and so on. And the most important part is that, as I said, the recommendations are for the Ghanaian government and institutions to consider. It's not the European Union saying you have to do that, but they say on this occasion or on this, I would say, situation, maybe something else could have been envisaged. So by and large, once again, the elections were open, transparent and democratic.
Should we be looking at term limits? But the basis is, well, it's not as entrenched, and the fear is that, and we've even heard from our president, for instance, say that should be taken to the sub-regional level, where you have inter-governmental organizations such as ECOWAS and all of that, making that as part of international law, where every country must respect term limits, and that's the basis from which
But this is what I've been referring to in introduction, the ECOWAS region, which is the most integrated region in Africa, was, and to some extent still is, one of the most advanced regions when it comes to democracy and when it comes to institutional framework. And this protocol on good governance and democracy, which has been worked on in order to renew it, because it's 20 years now, has got this indication of terms limit. So we are already there.
But we know that obviously what's the integral part of democracy has got to do with human rights. The EU has also been monitoring that aspect of our national development. You point out, for instance, in some of the reports that you've issued on human rights here in Ghana, that issues of the rights of women and children still remains a big challenge for our country, a challenge that our authorities need to deal with. How do we have to go about this, and what do you feel should be the priority in terms of the approach to tackling this challenge of inequalities which still exist within our community?
The European Union and Ghana share those values and cherish them very much, meaning respect for human dignity, equality between men and women, socio-economic inclusion, open debate, solid democratic institutions, so on and so forth. This is the reason why these values, which are the bedrock of the European Union project, are now to be celebrated, as we have 65 years, like Ghana, 65 years of a European project behind us. We will be celebrating the 9th of May, what we call the Schuman Declaration. Right. What is it about? 5 years after the Second World War, the most horrific war in the modern history, the French Minister of Foreign Affairs proposed his German counterpart to put together the resources when it comes to coal and steel. Right. Coal and steel were meant to build arms. So the very idea is to build a de facto solidarity, as Robert Schuman called it, right, in order to make it impossible for one or the other former belligerent to build arms in the back of the other. On the contrary, they should pull together their industries to rebuild. Right. Why am I saying so? Because this is at the very idea of cooperation, right, and when you add that to human rights, democracy, willingness to ensure cooperation, right, and a rule-based international order, these were the values which made it impossible or right, unthinkable that members of the European Union go to war against each other. And this is where we are 65 years down the line.
And we'll be talking about your decision to mark that, a week-long program. We'll talk about some of the events that are scheduled to happen and what Ghanaians and also the rest of the world could learn from the EU. But then, just as you're saying, it's all in line with the issue of human rights. Press freedom is also at the core of this. Just recently, well, it's not necessarily Europe, but some other members of the international community raised concerns about the continuous attack on journalists here in our country. You've also pointed out that in some of the reports that you've issued on human rights here in our country. Do you feel, or are you getting the sense, is the international community getting the sense that press freedom is not being guaranteed here in Ghana?
Press freedom is a key value for democracy worldwide. This is the case as well in Ghana. And for our case, we have followed with great interest and great care the follow-up to this case, because this was an important development. And last year, or this year, the government has adopted a right to information legislation, which only reinforces the press freedom, and we are supporting that very much, and we are welcoming that very much. So, as we've said, freedom, expression, journalism are key values, key capital to nurture. We have to do it together. You have your role to do that. We have our assessment, but the key actors are the Ghanaian institutions.
Already the international ratings are not giving us a good picture in terms of how we're performing when it comes to guaranteeing the safety of journalists. Do you feel that this is an area we should improve on?
No, this is part of the many responsibilities of the Ghanaian authorities, the Ghanaian journalists, the Ghanaian watchdogs, and other people who are looking after this area. Yes.
The opposition political party here in Ghana feels that there's a culture of silence which is creeping into our society, and there would be a need for the international community to intervene and to help deal with the issues. They've, for instance, roped in the courts, claiming that it's not as independent as it should be. Is the EU concerned about this? Have you received the reports, and what are you likely to do to mediate and to ensure that there is peace in this country?
What we are likely to do is absolutely not meddling into that development, because this is the responsibility of the Ghanaian authorities, and as far as I'm concerned, there is no civil war in Ghana. So there is absolutely no reason for us to impose ourselves into a situation. There is rule of law, there are watchdog bodies, there is an independent justice, and everybody is in a position to make its claim and to get justice served. So I would like to challenge the very idea that we would have a responsibility, or we would have a role to play in order to make things right into the Ghanaian landscape.
But the fear is we've exhausted all internal mechanisms, and that's why the main opposition political party is raising such concerns. Don't you feel that you're lukewarm about this? There's a need at least to have some influence to try and coming and try and ensure that
I'm very surprised that in 2022, in the very country of Nkrumah, you are asking for external actors to have an influence on Ghana. Is it what you are saying? Are you calling external actors to have an influence over Ghanaian government or Ghanaian country?
This is what mediation is what we need. If the opposition political party had an option,
I don't believe this is a serious discussion.
They wouldn't have resorted to the international community.
No. I don't believe in international intervention into a sovereign country's affair.
The fear is we may go the path of other countries in the sub-region if you don't come in to at least speak to all the powers that be.
We'll see how it develops, but I don't believe this is the direction that discussion will go.
Okay then. Obviously we have a beautiful opportunity as a country to learn from the EU during your Europe Week. It's starting from the 2nd of May. What activities will you be rolling out, and why should not just Europeans but Ghanaians also be very much interested in this celebration?
The celebration is not about EU teaching anything to Ghana as you are implying, or EU intervening in Ghana as you are calling for, but celebrating 65 years of friendship. Because Ghana acceded to independence in 1957, the European Union has been created in 1957, and this is a great match because since the very beginning the European Union has been siding with Ghana for its development, consolidation of its democracy, reinforcing its regional stance, and creating opportunities for its youth. So this is what we will be celebrating during the Europe Week, or maybe it will last more than 1 week, but basically we will celebrate diversity and exchanges in projecting Ghanaian and European movies around the issue of disability. Why is that so? Because it's very important that we reaffirm the fact that the society should be open and inclusive to everyone, even disabled people. There will be showcase about what we are doing on terms of plastic recycling. I will be visiting with my colleagues a plastic recycling unit not far from Accra. We will be showcasing some of our most brilliant young entrepreneurs benefiting from the European program, because this is the future. Future lies in economic growth, innovation, socio-economic inclusion, entrepreneurship. We will be showcasing as well what we are doing in terms of large infrastructure. As you know, we have been part of the Pong Dam since the very beginning. We are part of its modernization, and we are part as well of the One District, One Dam program. Even in the northern region of Ghana, we have adopted a few weeks ago a program for agriculture in order to increase the productivity of agriculture, innovation, and job creation for women and youth.
So these are some of the interventions that we've seen. And are we expecting more activities beyond the 2nd to May period? Are there some activities that?
Yes, I think it will be a bit like the year of return. We will do beyond. We will do beyond the week.
Yeah.
We will do beyond the European week. Yeah. We are doing so much together with the Ghanaian government. We cannot just limit for a small showcase for 1 week I've been with fishermen in the Volta region because we feel very much for the situation of sustainability of fishing industry, artisanal fishing, for example. This is one key area. This is about people. Right. This is about their revenue. This is about their daily life. But we are very much engaged as well when it comes to large infrastructure. I mentioned Pong Dam, mentioning energy, supporting the secondary cities. We are supporting the city of
and education
Kumasi.
as well, I guess.
Education is a key component of our engagement. Tertiary education and TVET, because there again we would like to facilitate and create the room for better job access for the youth of Ghana, and we will do special events with the alumni of the Erasmus program. The Erasmus Mundus program is, the international bursary program that we are running. It's a huge program. Several billions of euros are invested into global knowledge, and there are 300 young Ghanaians who went through this program, and I will be delighted to welcome some of them here next week.
And we are all excited about that. I'm interested in TVET as well. The belief is that's one area of our educational system that could unlock the potential of the youth out there. Is the EU willing to partner in some programs that would expand?
Yes, we are already partnering with the Ministry of Employment and Labour, but so TVET is a key area for intervention of the European Union, precisely because this is a way to unlock the hurdle and the bottleneck for youngsters to access the job market. And as I said, one of the key joint priority area between European Union and Ghana is stimulating growth and job. Sustainable growth and job, and this is what we are doing with TVET. We have a very large program already ongoing, but in the years to come as well, we are partnering with several bodies, universities, and the Ministry of Labour of Employment, for example.
Well, so we need to wrap up. Ambassador, what will be your final words to Ghanaians out there?
No, I think it's time for celebration. 60 years of friendship, 65 years of partnership, in a moment where the relations are really picking up between Europe and Ghana, is only reason to celebrate.
Well, Ishad Razali is the head of mission for the European Union here in Ghana, and some of the highlights from the interview some of them were based on the issue of democracy, and of course the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, says Ghana's democracy is actually at a crossroads. That's the argument of the party, but we understand that the former president himself, John Mahama, will be addressing the nation later tonight, and as we heard from that interview, the European Union says they are not expecting that the external actors, including the European Union, will intervene into the political deadlock that we're witnessing here in the country. So what are we to expect from the NDC tonight, and why is the party claiming that there's a crucial decision that needs to be taken on the future of the country? Joining us now via Zoom is the Deputy National Youth Organizer for the National Democratic Congress, Edem Agbana, who's joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So Ghana at a crossroads. That's how you term today's event. Why is the NDC staging such an event today? Adam, you'd have to unmute for me so I can hear you. Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. And good evening to all our cherished viewers across the world. Ghana is indeed at the crossroad. We have come to what we term as the lowest point in our democracy post-1992. All institutions of state are failing the young people of this country. Every sector of the economy is plummeting when it comes to growth. All the institutions of state, the security agencies, and even the judiciary are not working in the interest of this country. And so these are hard times for the people of Ghana.
For some, this is just the usual politics. We've just had, for instance, the interview with the EU ambassador. He says that the 2020 elections, for instance, was very valid. He goes on to talk about the fact that there's no civil war, there's peace institutions are working, and there's no need, for instance, for external actors to come in and intervene. You have been on that tangent, calling out government, calling out state institutions, and yet some independent actors say there's nothing wrong with our democracy.
I am not sure that the EU ambassador is saying that 8 people losing their lives in an election is normal and is acceptable. I'm not sure the EU ambassador is saying that a group of people who find themselves in a particular geographical area, I'm talking about South, who have been denied representation is normal and must be accepted. I'm not sure the EU ambassador is saying that the police brutalities, the military brutalities that we saw, that we have video footages of, that led to death and the maiming of Ghanaians is what he's calling valid and acceptable and must be accepted at all costs. The point must be made that maybe the EU has a different standard for which they observe the election. But for us, as the main political party in Ghana, we are the major political party in Ghana because we have had more time in government than any other party. We participated in the process. We are key players. We are agents in the over 39,000 polling stations and across.
Adam, it appears that we're having some challenges with your link, but if you can...
Looking at what we know.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're having challenges with your link. If your claim is that our democracy is stable, it's not stable. The point is, Adam, if you can hear me, the point is if you look at our institutions now, they appear to be working. In fact, there's no civil war in Ghana. Those were the words of the ambassador. It's not necessarily endorsing some of the violent incidents that transpired during the election.
At the time President Akufo-Addo took over, there was no civil war in Ghana. The point is not as if civil war is the major standard or indicator to judge whether or not the country's democracy is making progress. We have many other things that we use. But I'm saying, in the 2016 election that brought Akufo-Addo into power, did we have to lose 8 lives, 8 unarmed citizens for Akufo-Addo to take power? No. So the point must be made that every sector of the economy, talk about the economy as a whole, how the various sectors are going and all of that. We are saying that we are not satisfied with the governance of Akufo-Addo, and our observation and our argument is being backed by many other independent observers as well. All the credible rating agencies have said that the country's economy is headed for doom. And so, as a former president and hopefully the incoming president of the Republic, President John Dramani Mahama has it as a moral and a national responsibility to speak and ensure that we hold leadership accountable at this critical time. And that is exactly what we are doing. And so it is not about an individual who thinks that it is okay for us to lose 8 lives. It is about the standards that we know and what our democracy aspires to be. Maybe for the European Union ambassador and some others that we have known, their view or their perception is that elections in Africa are very violent, and so if 8 people die, it is normal. But we are saying that that is not the kind of democracy that we handed over to Akufo-Addo. It is for the first time we are seeing men and women who clothe themselves in national security apparel commit some of the heinous crimes. We saw what happened at Ayawaso West Wugon. We saw what happened at Techiman South and all of these. These things are not normal. These things are not valid in our democracy. And so, per the tenet that we have set for ourselves, we are saying that these things are unacceptable. And that is the reason why we are speaking tonight to the nation and then highlight all of these issues and call on leadership, call on the inept leadership of Akufo-Addo to at least respond to the demands of the good people of Ghana.
And that is why it's not as though, Adam, it's not as though we've not heard from government on this. Government has been clear on its position with regard to the Ghanaian economy. They talk largely about the external factors, the COVID-19 pandemic, and recently the Russian-Ukrainian wars. And some of the reasons why our economy is not doing so well. The facts bear them out, isn't it? The fact that many economies around the world have been ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance.
We all know that COVID-19 damaged most of the economies in the world. We all know. But we also know that the things that are affecting the country's economy today did not start post-COVID-19. For example, we are talking about ballooning public debt. As of December 2019, we did not have COVID in Ghana, but the country's debt was already ballooning to the extent that we had over 75.3% of the country's GDP going into debt servicing. And so when we talk about the issues affecting our economy, when we talk about the corruption, which is the major driver of the hardship that we find ourselves in, these things did not start only after COVID. They were there before COVID and Russia. And so it is grand deception for anyone to assume or to make the point that we are suffering today because of COVID and the Russian-Ukraine war. We are saying that all the things pointing to the economy's destruction and the economy's collapse were present even before COVID-19. And so let us be fair to the point. And tonight, I can assure you that in President Mohammed's speech, he's going to touch on all of these issues and let the people of Ghana get to know the truth.
So beyond the name calling and the fact that the economy is not doing well, citing issues of corruption and so on and so forth, what else will John Mahama do tonight that we've not at least seen in the last few days?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Adam.
You asking that beyond, I lost you at a point.
Yes, beyond the normal issues, all the issues that you've pointed out. What is it that John Mahama will do that we've not seen in the last few days? Yes, what else is it going to do beyond complaining and talking about the ills of society, as the NDC sees it?
We are not only complaining. Over the years, we have exposed Ghanaians to what we term the alternatives. And so we want Ghanaians to know the truth. And if the government will listen, we also have policy alternatives and proposals in President Mohammed's speech. But these things are not new to us. We have mentioned all these things already. We have been proposing them. But of course, the problem of the country is the leadership. And so if you have insensitive leaders who do not care about the young people of this country, leaders who can refuse to pay even national service allowance, but will continue to fly in expensive private jets at the expense of the taxpayer, then you certainly know that the only solution that we have is leadership. And so President Mahama is not complaining. He is only highlighting the true state of the nation and calling on the people of Ghana to rally around the flag for us to demand leadership accountability. Because after all is said and done, you don't pay your taxes to the NDC in opposition. You pay your taxes to the government. And so the key decisions that can change our situation, that can change the narrative of the young people of this country, are decisions that must be taken by those in position of authority. Unfortunately, they have turned deaf ears. But we will continue to advocate. We will continue to propose. We will continue to demand accountability from this government. And I can assure you that come 2024, the NDC will be back in power to restore hope, dignity and confidence back into leadership.
I'm grateful for your time. That's Adam Agbana, Deputy National Youth Organizer for the National Democratic Congress. Now the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has reiterated government's commitment to ensuring the safety of citizens living along the country's border towns. Ambrose Derry spoke to JoyNews when he handed over a refurbished border post building to the Immigration Service at Hamiley. JoyNews is the West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam has the rest of the story.
In the wake of the emergence of the threat of violent extremism or jihadist groups spreading from the Sahel, ongoing global public health emergencies coupled with the activities of smuggling and human trafficking networks, concerns have been raised about the security of the country's borders, considering the inadequate infrastructure and equipment at their disposal. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, with support from the German Federal Foreign Office, embarked on a project codenamed Strengthening Border Security and border community resilience in the Gulf of Guinea, which is aimed at improving regional stability along the northern border regions of the republics of Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, and Ghana. Interior Minister Ambrose Dere stated that as part of the project in Ghana, 2 border posts at Kulungugu and Hambele were renovated and equipped with state-of-the-art equipment, including the Migration Information and Data Analysis System.
I have no doubt that the Migration Information and Data Analysis System, MIDAS, will provide the state with the capacity to collect, process, analyze, and share traveler information, as well as support the digitalization of migration data to improve traveler facilitation and control. The installation of this system is timely, especially at this time that our government is championing the Digital Ghana agenda, which seeks to digitize government services, build a biometric national identity register, deploy a digital property address system, mobile money interoperability, and institutionalize paperless port operations, among others.
Ambrose Dere noted that there is the need to increase collaboration to meet the challenges confronting border management agencies.
The mission of the government of Ghana in this respect of border stability is to encourage development that will improve quality of lives of the people in the context of regular migration, not irregular migration. Accordingly, this project would contribute significantly to the fulfillment of this mission. No government works in isolation, and it takes partnerships and support from other governments and institutions to achieve greater heights in development.
Chief of Mission at the IOM, Habibata Winnie Fall, noted that the importance of land borders cannot be overemphasized, considering the ECOWAS protocol of free movement for people and goods. She further threw more light on the project.
This approach covers support for immigration and border infrastructure and equipment, provision of border patrol equipment, digitization of migration data through the provision of Migration Information Data Analysis System, MIDAS, increased community engagement, and strengthening cross-border cooperation. These interventions also draw from IOM decades of experience of working with government in the region of immigration and border management and border security.
German Ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Krul, expressed joy in the partnership with the Ghanaian government and hope to initiate more projects in the future.
We are happy to assist. Germany strongly believes in the comprehensive partnership with Ghana. For us, Ghana is our premium partner in West Africa, and we are prepared to continue our commitment and our support only in the field of development cooperation. Last year we committed another 100 million for projects here in Ghana, and we are happy to continue this dialogue with your government.
Comptroller of the Ghana Immigration Service, Lawyer Kwame Eswotechi, revealed that plans are afoot to establish a forward operating base at Hamilapa following the release of 100 acres of land to the service by the Harper Trustland Council.
A typical example of community support is a 100-acre parcel of land which was given to the service by the chief and people of Hama Traditional Council for their proposed forward operating base. I deployed officers from the headquarters to have a look at the land, and the service is taking the necessary steps to finalize arrangement with the chief for the land. This is highly commendable, and we say thank you to the Hapakoro and his people.
Almost all the speeches that were delivered here centered on the need to be secured.
And so for them, security is a shared responsibility. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Hamele.
Now, as part of measures to clarify and reaffirm the country's international land boundary lines with its neighbors, the Ghana Boundary Commission, together with the Togolese government, supported by the African Union Border Program, will construct 50 new identifiable pillars as an international boundary marking between Ghana and Togo. This was announced by the National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, during a meeting with the Ketu North Municipal Security Council and the security officials at the Akano border crossing post. He has been interacting with the head of JoyNews security desk, MFA Apau.
So the meeting today is to take this opportunity to rather sensitize the immigration and custom officials and other officials of the local administration who are within this area, and to inform them that this exercise is going to take off. We're going to have a local sensitization of the local committees on the 10th in Aflao, and then on the 11th, we will be in Akano to have a joint meeting with the locals from Togo and Ghana here in Akano.
On the 11th of April, I arranged with my counterpart in Togo. We went and met him and had a discussion on how we can work together to solve some of these problems. So it is good that you are coming in now.
We're looking forward of launching the sensitization program, which will be done in Denu, jointly with the Togolese from the 10th on the 10th of May. Then we'll move down here to do a joint program with the Togolese as well on the 11th of May. Now, the essence of the sensitization is to sensitize all those living along the boundaries about the reaffirmation exercise that we're going to do. The reaffirmation exercise involves construction of 3 major pillars: pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, and 4, and 4. So that is 4 actually, but pillar 1 is out because it's going to be a monument. And intermediary pillars. In addition, we will have border crossing point pillars. So invariably, we're going to have 4 types of pillars that are going to be done, and we're going to have each pillar going down to about 2 meters and above about 2 meters, which is completely quite different from the old type of pillars that we have.
Do we know how many pillars exactly are supposed to be erected?
Between Aflao and Kano, 50 pillars. Either they're going to be a combination of main pillars, intermediate pillars, and then border crossing post pillars.
But in terms of costing, I'm sure when we talk about this, it always comes up. You've talked about the partnership with the AU amongst others. How much exactly is it expected to cost us as a nation to bring this up? And why is it just Ghana's side that is erecting these pillars and not the Togo side?
It's not Ghana's side which is erecting, it's both sides. It's a collaboration of both Ghana and Togo boundary commissions. And let me also emphasize, it's a land boundary pillars that we are doing. So both Ghana and Togo are jointly presenting these pillars. Both Ghana and Togo are jointly presenting these pillars for the African Union Boundary Commission to bid for a contractor who is going to do it. So far as cost concept aspect is concerned, there is not going to be any costs implications for Ghana and Togo governments, but it's going to be borne by the African Union Boundary Commission because it's part of the efforts of the African Union Boundary Commission as border strategy to help countries to redemarcate and reaffirm their borders.
So by this collaboration, can we safely then say that there's no border or boundary dispute between Ghana and Togo?
For now, this is the first phase, and in the first phase, we've identified a number of boundary pillars have been removed. That encourages encroaches, that encourages cross-border movements that probably people cannot monitor, and that also creates problems so far as demarcation issues are concerned. Now, within that period and within that area, we expect that there will not be any problem, and we have all agreed using the legacy documents that exist, that those are the international boundary lines that we have to affirm. There may be other issues in other parts of the boundary line between Ghana and Togo. But this is the first phase, and we're going to tackle others as we go on. Before the end of the year, we're hoping to do a number of it.
Okay. This is where we are now. We are the Akano side of the Ghana-Togo border. And it's interesting, the history that we've had and the lessons that we've had from this particular side. We are told is a land that can be described as a no man's land as we speak, because the ECOWAS has acquired it, and this is the border. So I'm sure once we pan the camera around, you get to see what it entails. It's not just Aflao that we have the Akano side. Reporting for JoyNews, MFA Pau from Akano.
And you're still with us here on The Pulse, but unfortunately that's all we have for you in the package here. My name is Blessed Sogah. Don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com. We have more updates for you there.